Hey guys, this is Grace and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to share with you a layout share with some of the projects or layouts that I created in the month of February. I am part of a Facebook group called Bash Your Scrap Stash. I think that's what it's called, BYSS. Anyways, this group has been really inspiring to me because they put out a bunch of challenges and they just basically inspire me and all of the members to look at our stash and to use it. And so I'm kind of in that mode right now. I did kind of fall off the wagon with my no spending freeze in 2018. I'm not going to talk about that because that was a total fail. However, I do feel like I have been using my stash a lot more in the past couple of years than I have in the past. So with that being said, they had this whole month-long challenge where every week they give you a sketch and a prompt, some things that you can use from your stash to add it to specific layouts. And then we were divided into groups, and every time you use the sketch or you use the prompts, then you get a certain point, and so the group that had the most points win. And can I just brag about my group? Group 1 won. We won. I think we won almost every week, and then we won overall. So woot woot for group 1. So let me just share with you all of these things. And the reason why I'm sharing this is because maybe you can get ideas on how to use your scraps. Because what I did was I pulled out all of my scraps from the past Flavors of the Month kits that I have been given, like all of the die cuts, like every single thing. And those were what I had wanted to use for this. I did grab a few things from my stash just because maybe like there was a prompt to use washi tape or something like that, and I didn't have that specific one in my stash, but all of this came from my stash. I did not buy any new thing for these layouts. So let's just get started. So the first layout I had, it was based off of a sketch, and I used it to, it was a single layout sketch, but I used it to create this double page layout. So as you can see, the sketch was a circle, a big circle, and then elements over here, photos, a strip for title, and then like a border. And so what I did was to make it a double page layout is I just turned the sketch. And so instead of the elements going down here, I put it up here. I made the same circle. I happen to have the same amount of photos. So I had 3 here and 3 there. And then instead of title, I used it for journaling. So you might want to consider that if you have single page layout sketches, you can just turn it over like 180 degrees and make it for the next, for your like right page or left page, whichever one you want, and then you could still have a cohesive look and you could still use that sketch. And so with this, I love it because I was able to stack pattern paper, so this is really good to use your scraps. I use stacks of paper, and because this is a Halloween theme, I used all of my Halloween and my fall scraps of paper for this. And then I did use some from my stash. The word Halloween was from my stash and not from Flavors of the Month past kits. And then I have a bunch of journaling for this one, so I kind of just divided it into 3 because I wanted to specifically talk about what my kids were for Halloween, what their costumes were all about. And so I wrote that, I typed that up each individually. And then I did add from my own stash some spider web washi just because I wanted a border around my photo. And that's basically my page. So I did add some stamping to this because I had a new stamp from Technique Tuesday. Well, not really new. It was like I've had it for like 4 months and I wanted to use them up. So I stamped a bunch of like just these little sayings about home, and then I added them into some of my pages. So that's my first page. The second page is, as you can see, this one has a bunch of just ephemera, and it really is the perfect layout for just adding a bunch of just stuff on your page. Now, I don't normally do this, but because I only have one photo and I wanted to make a page about our missionary friend here. We are a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and it just so happens that this missionary that was assigned to our ward was Filipino, and I'm Filipino, and it kind of like bonded because of that. And so just before he left our area, he made sure that he stopped by and we took a picture with him. And so I just wanted to document that, our missionary friend. And I just picked a bunch of different, like these ones are die cuts. I have some wood. I have this like poofy thingy. And then I have this kind of plastic sleigh. I mean, it doesn't really like match the story, but I just thought it would be nice. And I did put pattern paper on the back just to house all these things. Again, I stamped a bunch of these words and and so I'm just kind of cutting them up and just using them on my pages, and basically that is it. I really love how this layout turned out. And then the next one was this one. This is based off of a sketch, and I'm going to show you another layout that I created with the same sketch, but this one's a single page layout. Again, I have 3 photos, all 3x4, and just a bunch of pattern papers on the back. I hand cut these flowers from a pattern paper. I made banners out of paper and then added some stickers to it, and then my foam letters. And so this one, as you can see, there's no big pattern paper on the back of it, but I wanted everything to stand out against the background, so I just ran my white paint behind it just to kind of, you know, make that pop. So that might be something that you want to consider if you don't have like a bunch of big pieces of pattern papers to add to it, that you can just use your white paint. And then I also used, again, the stamped sentiment that I have. Okay, so on to the next page. As you can see, this page is very similar to this one. Let me put it together. I turned over the sketch so the photos are to the right versus this one was to the left. So you can always do that, and as you can see, you get 2 totally different layouts. So you might want to consider that if you have a sketch. Now I turned it over, and again, I used cardstock because I didn't have a lot of big pattern papers for this particular kind of theme feel for the layout. And then I used my white paint, and instead of using washi to kind of ground my page, I just ran my white paint around it so that it will have a border. And again, I used some papers, some stamping for my banners, and then some papers and a bunch of die cuts. So I really love how this turned out, and as you can see, it manages to, I mean, I used a bunch of scraps, but I still managed to create a full looking layout. Okay, so let's go on to this next layout. These were actually part of or based off of a sketch, and as you can see, they're pretty similar. It's just that I turned the sketch 180 degrees, so my photos are on to the left, I mean to the right rather, and then this one's to the left. So let's start with this page. Some of the prompts for this particular week's challenge was to add flowers and then have borders, and then of course the sketch, and I believe the buttons. So I pulled buttons from my stash. I used different types of, now this one's a die cut, but these ones are stickers, and I used them from 2 different just sticker sheets, and then I added a bunch of flowers. As you can see, there's some die cuts, but then this is also the hand cut flower that I have used in another page, so is this one. And again, I've been using the stamped sentiments onto my pages. And then this one is again also with the borders, flowers, buttons, and stickers with the die cuts. And then for my last page, I did not use the sketch because the sketch was, I think the sketch was for a single photo, and you know me, it's very rare that I have a single photo, and so I just used the other prompts, and I believe the prompts were stickers and what else? Stars, I think, was one of them too. So this one is, as you can see, is a Christmas themed layout, and I just had very handful of scraps of paper, so I laid my photos first and then just added some strips of pattern paper here and there. I did add 1/4-inch strips all around to create a border on my page, and then I went to town with all of the die cuts, the stickers, and punched some stars to it. Again, I've been adding all of these stamped sentiments on my pages. The Of course, the sticker for the title is from my stash, but everything else was from my scraps from the Scrap Room Flavors of the Month kit. So that's basically all of my pages. I'm so happy with how all of these turned out. And this is really, I mean, the sad thing about it is I really didn't make that big of a dent on my scrap stash when it came to my Flavors of the Month kit supplies, because I still have a ton. That just shows you that when you purchase those kits and when you subscribe, you really get a great value because you get a lot of products. But at the same time, it shows you that with just a few scraps, you can still create a complete filled layout without it being, looking sparse or something. And so I hope this gives you an idea of how to use your scraps. And if you have any questions, make sure that you leave it in the comment section below. And if you like these videos, please give it a thumbs up and watch my other videos. I do have a ton of different playlists. I have double page layouts. I have just process videos. I have mini series in my channel. So if you want to see more from me, please check out my link, and I will catch you guys another day. Bye.